The Highland Hills tower the skies. But the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all,
Music playing? Who's playing music?
It's your adverts. It's your adverts on your channel. Waiting on mute my laptop. Sorry, guys.
I was wondering what that was. I was like,
Sorry.
or something like that.
There we go.
Everybody tonight, everybody. It's good to see everybody. I'm just going to make sure my volume's down tailing mine before I come in. The adverts are a pain, but it's monetization for the channel. Now, guys, tonight, obviously, we're talking about Friday the 13th and all the superstition behind it. We're also joined by Sherry tonight, and we're joined by Jenny tonight. We might be joined by more people. I don't know. We'll see who joins. So, first of all, I'm going to state something. I stated it on Bull and Bonkers. That was on Saturday and Sunday night, actually. And everybody here will probably be saying something about it today, is the fact that it's what's going on right now in the Middle East. It's really bad. And I'm not saying stick with any side. I'm just saying we need to put positive energy out there. We need to try and pray that the war stops on both sides, because the killing is diabolical. The children that's dying is just absolutely terrible. So if everybody could maybe pray that in the coming days that things stay quiet and doing, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to get worse, to be honest with you, before it gets better. So, Drew, would you like to say anything about?
I would just like to. I don't know much about what's going on, and I'm not going to pretend that I do.
No.
All I know is somebody that crosses over spirits. I know that what my job now has been leading up to. So I'm being prepared to cross over a lot more spirits, because I do feel as if that is what's coming. So I would just ask everybody to not take sides and just pray, send out healing, send out positivity to the world, and just pray and hope that things get sorted out as soon as possible, and that all the lost souls out there get directed to the other side.
Yep. Would Jenny, do you want to say anything?
Not really, because I got emotional.
Yeah, I understand. Would you like to say anything, Sherry?
As Sister Drew said, this is a difficult time for all of the world. So, like she said, there is no taking sides. Everybody's suffering in this. So we all need to just pray and put our hearts and our love out there. As Sister said, I myself, I cross spirits over, and I know how traumatic it can be for them and for us. And we know we've got a lot more coming. So let's try to pray and try to put that love out there, guys, and just hope for the best, because things are not looking great at the minute. And I think our world needs a bit of love and a bit of TLC at the minute, and a lot of prayers and love out to everybody that's going through these difficult times.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sherry. It's bad what's happening now. It's really, really bad. I mean, I thought the Ukraine thing was bad, but this is beyond bad. This is really, really bad, and hopefully they can maybe bring peace to it. But I don't think peace is going to come for a while. I think it's just going to spiral out of control. Yeah. I would just like to, some of the new people in the chat, I would like to welcome you on. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Louise in the chat, Emerald Isles Paranormal. Hello.
Hello.
We've actually got new people in the chat actually tonight. Who have we all actually got in there? We've got Kelly, Phoenix, we've got Evelyn, we've got
Welcome,
Firehorse. My goodness.
All our witchy sisters coming to support us, Christopher. Welcome in, sisters.
Phoenix. Welcome. There you go. I better watch what I'm saying, Jen. I might end up in a jar. Looking at the top.
Well.
You know, I don't end up. So tonight, is that
Do
an
not
interesting
speak too
subject,
soon,
guys?
because I have one just here perfectly waiting for
Oh,
you.
a nice
Sissy
one as
Kay,
well.
That's that. Aye,
as you're
aye,
going
aye,
in
I'll
it.
get something. I've got my powerful wand.
Oh, he's going to repel you,
I'm
Sister
going to turn into a
Sharon.
frog.
Oh, really?
Going to turn into a
Okay.
frog. Frog. What do you think of that, ladies and
Repel me
gentlemen?
if
Look
you
at that.
want.
That take me absolutely ages. Look at that. That take me absolutely ages to cover that. That's my last one. I don't think I'll make any more for a while.
That's a
So-
nice one.
I think that is well. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are talking about Friday the 13th, not the movie, but the date.
No.
Now, a lot of strange things happen to a lot of strange people on this date. Today, luckily, nothing really terrible's happened to me. All I've happened to me is I've lost the lottery. I didn't win it like I was hoping to get 50, 60 million, but it didn't happen. My numbers didn't come up. But by sheer luck, tonight we actually have a special guest, Jenny, and she's had a hell of a day, haven't you, Jenny?
Oh, Jenny, have you?
We can't hear you.
No, because I was cursing.
Yeah, I thought that.
My day. Well, I don't know. For the last, I think, week and a half, 2 weeks, something stupid or bad has happened, or just not even clumsy. It was just, I'm thinking, I actually thought at one point some bad juju has been given to me. But today, even today, I won't even. The beginning of it was where one of my daughters would have put an old kind of dog food in the dog biscuit box, and was half open. So I was like walking by and like, what's that smell? So I had to clean it out, the whole thing out. So I'm carrying the bag out in through my kitchen, through my hall, into my front door. I didn't even get from my kitchen to the hall when the whole arse of the bag fell out. And it was bad stuff in it that I didn't want to deal with. But I had to put my mask on and my gloves and so on, doing that. While I was doing that, the small fold-out table that I have was about to fall. The brush was about to fall, and I went to grab both of them, and it almost knocked over the freshly bucket of, my mop bucket, over. And the language was Irish. Completely. Not kidding you. And then a few things happened. I wanted to get something, and it wasn't there, and so on. And just I thinking to myself, nope. These things happen. It's nothing. They happen. And then I went to light my fire tonight, and I put, the plastic bag of coal and you stick it in the fire, whatever. So I'm taking the plastic bag out, and of course I have lost fingerprints on some of my fingers. Little things that would be normal and everyday thing, but I'm not superstitious. I'm not. But this was a So I'm sort of like, I'm not superstitious. These things happen, but I was kind of thinking like, whoever's cursed me in the last 2 weeks. And I actually stood in my kitchen. Today, and I've never said these words before. And I actually stood in my kitchen this morning, and I'm up since 6:30 this morning. And I said, whoever has sent me bad luck, throw it right back at them, so mote it be. And I've never said anything like that in my life before. And that's how bad things have been for the last 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
It's probably an accumulation of energy that either people are sending you, the bad luck that is going on around you. It's probably got to a stage now where it's manifesting its own little energy. So it's good that you said that, because that'll send it on its way.
I actually did, and I've never said it before. And I was standing in my kitchen thinking, Kelly, let it out, and I do. And I have to mute myself. When I mute myself, it's not because my speaker is gone. It's because I'm saying what I need to say, but I can't say it in live. But I was actually standing in my kitchen, and it got to a point where I just literally said, I actually had to look at my microphone to make sure so I wasn't being live saying what I was saying. But I was thinking, not today. Today is not the day, and I am not the one. I want that tattooed on me. Today is not the day. I'm not the one. and I want to tattoo it here on my arm. So if people do something, I'm going to go, today is not the day, and I am not the one. So it was kind of like, I'm thinking maybe it's kicking me up the arse to say I think because I was talking about something during the week about a certain video that's out online recently. And I'm thinking, what a crock of shit. What a crock of shit. And it's about the Bigfoot. I'm going to say it's about the Bigfoot.
Right.
I'm going to say,
Hey, the one with the train.
like, if someone says to me, Jenny, there's leprechauns and fairies, I'm like,
but there is leprechauns and fairies.
And I'd say, Jenny, is there Bigfoot in Ireland? Well, maybe a few of my exes were like, Bigfoot.
Your luck should get better now that you've threw it back, though.
Well, I was going to say something. Should I say? I don't know if I should say it or not. No,
it's an adult show. It'll be fine.
So my beliefs are, and somebody who says to me about the Bigfoot or the this and that, it's kind of like write it on a piece of paper, line your side, raise your leg up, and shove it up your arse. Because no, that's what I think. And you told me to say it, so I'm saying it. It's like no. This whole.
I will say about that Bigfoot one. I'll admit, I watched it a few times. I've been talking to a lot of people about that Bigfoot one. It was the one that it was on Twitter. Somebody we know posted it. And I was watching it. I sent it to somebody and I says, what do you think? And it's actually been proven now. I think it has been proven now that it's AI. It's
not happening.
It's computerly generated. It's somebody walking, but they've put something at the top of them. That's what I think it is. It's Look, there's a lot of strange things in the world. I mean, guys, while you're here, actually, could you go and subscribe to Emerald Isles Paranormal? Because you're nearly at 900 subscribers now, aren't you?
Oh, good. Let's get and Mystical over that 1,000. Mystical's getting close as well, guys.
Yay! Almost there. Almost. Hopefully, I think my
you're sitting at 877 subscribers. You are sitting at right now, Jenny.
Yes.
So they are in the chat as the.
Welcome in, Evisus. Nice to see you.
Hey there. So everybody click on that link.
Did you see the new video? Oh, not a video, it's a picture where I'd seen today when I was out and about in the town and whatever. I was looking at my phone and there was a picture of a trail camera. Someone said it was my friend left a trail camera out, and then it's like Bigfoot kind of looking at it, and all you can see is one eye, but he looks grumpy and so on. And I want to break my fingers so I don't comment back, but I know. I'm just not doing it to comment back. And I remember someone I was on a show before and someone said, Jen, it's really Bigfoots in Ireland. No. I remember someone was saying like they were a Bigfoot hunter and they have hair samples I'm like, great. Do you bring it to the lab to test it for bear hair, coyote, fox, and everything? And they said, yes, they do. But there's no results. So I don't.
I see that. Right.
You need more evidence.
That's what I'm going to say, right? Seeing America and stuff like that, maybe in the deep in the Appalachian Mountains and stuff like that, there might be strange creatures and stuff like that.
Because when it comes to the UK or it comes
to, because you think about it, Ireland, Scotland, and England. I don't think there's any big feet.
No,
I just call them big feet. I like to annoy folk like that. Because I've been telling in the past, folk have left me messages on my YouTube and said it's not big feet, it's big foot. That folk have messaged me like I just call them big feet now. So
big feet.
Aye, big feet. So Sherry, you're all quiet down there. I'm looking away down onto you.
I'm just listening to all of you.
How's your Friday the 13th day been?
My Friday the 13th has actually been really, really good. I got the internet and stuff sorted today and getting my witchy den into order. So I've had quite a good day. And then I came to realise that we've got the Friday the 13th today, but you've also got something that happens tomorrow, which is the Ring of fire, solar
Oh, yeah, the
eclipse, which
eclipse.
is
Oh, that's
meant to be
right.
really,
I
really good
have.
as well. So
That's
yeah.
actually interesting that you mentioned that. I ken this is going to sound. This is going back to the very, very start. I mean, what's happening now in the Middle East, right? And if you, well, maybe we should really do a show on this, like prophecies and stuff like that. And there's obviously there's a comet that's above the Earth. There's a comet.
Oh, wow.
It's if you take you down the road of the Book of Revelations and that, which I don't go near because it's just complicated. There'll be a comet in the night sky, and then there'll be a solar eclipse, and the war of all wars will start in the Middle East, and
Well,
that's seriously,
Do you believe in that
and
Nostradamus?
that's
yes,
Nostradamus.
sometimes.
Aye,
Came
sometimes
true.
see,
And that the lady who's blind and she could predict.
Baba Vanga.
Yeah, well, I don't know her name, but she could predict.
It's Baba Vanga.
Her. I
Yeah.
mean, I do believe these people. I do believe it. I'm not 100% believer, but I do believe a little bit. I remember when the movie 2020 was it 2021 that came out, or did 2020 or 2012?
Or was it 2012? The way the world ends and all that.
That movie, I tell you now, that movie just destroyed me in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not proud to say that, but it did. It was it frightened the life out of me. And I remember one night, and it was going to happen whatever month it was going to happen in. And I remember one night when I was lying in bed, and my daughter, I was, with Jessica, I only had my one daughter, and I was living on my own, and the electricity went out. And I ran downstairs and I opened up the door, and then there was a flock of, this is about probably 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a flock of seagulls flying over, and I'm like, damn, are you kidding me? At 1 o'clock in the morning? I was waiting to see the tsunami coming over.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I never in my days, I think I felt what I would have felt if I was going to die. Like my body just went cold. Because it was just one of those things, electricity went out, whatever. But it was correspondence to the movie and the date and the year, and it just frightened me so much. So now I'm kind of like, no, we're not doing it that one again.
See, you can use today to your advantage as well, though. Remember, everything is balanced. So today, the Friday the 13th, people think of it as a negative day. So there you've already got your negative side. So therefore, everything you could do, everything you do on that day to be positive, because that's the other balance. So today technically could be seen as one of the most strongest days if you looked at it the opposite. It just depends on how you are portraying today to be unlucky, that you can bring that bad luck on yourself. So use it to your advantage and do positive work, because you've already got your balance.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just at one time that it got me.
Yeah.
And it literally, it got into my system that I worried. I was one of those people who worried, and I'm not a person like that. I'm kind of like, I'll see it when it happens, and so on and so on. But I think because my daughter was only about 2 years of age, this is why when I was thinking about the tsunamis and water and so on and so on, that gave me the fear. I don't know, but I just thought you can go and.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Ever say it again?
I will say that, right? The Mayan calendar thing, the 2012 Mayan calendar thing, right? Nobody really knew what the calendars were made for. Obviously, everybody thought it was coming to an end, and that's at the end of the world and stuff. Maybe it was just the end of a calendar. You know what I mean? It was just the end of a calendar. Like you buy a calendar and it gets to the very end, and then that's that, and you chuck it away. You know what I mean? It's not as if somebody's going to find that in an old building one day and they'll pick up a calendar, and they're like, oh my God, at the end of this calendar, the world's going to end. You know what I mean? Look, I will say this though. with the Mayan calendar 2012. It says we're in 2023 now, but we're
Yeah.
actually not in 2023 now.
Don't confuse us. What are we in now?
It's I can't exactly remember, but I think we're round about 2012. I can't. There was some. If you look it up, it's something today where they changed everything. We're either forward or we're backwards, but I don't think we're actually in 2023 now because they changed everything. It's when man started fiddling about with calendars and they changed things, And somebody was talking about it to me the other day there, but I wasn't quite listening to them. And they were going on about how this isn't 2023, which is quite interesting. With with the calendars and stuff. But look, I don't look with the Mayan calendars and stuff like that. I don't think it meant disaster. It was just the end of a calendar, right? They found hundreds of them lying in the jungles, right? Hundreds of these calendars lying in the. So look, they didn't have computers in the days, and they didn't have paper and stuff in the days, right? So they had to use something to write on. Think about it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think there's got to be great earthquakes and cities are going to fall into the sea. I will admit there is stuff happening all over the world all the time. There is things that could happen.
It's a lot of stuff. Wow. It's a crazy world. You'd never think it was going to happen. See, back in the day, in black and white days, but back in the day when we were younger, say 70s and 80s and so on, there was nothing of this. No. Or there was, but there was no social media as much as there is now that we would know about it. So there was things going on, but nothing. And there really was. But now with social media, we get to know everything about what's happening in every country, which is a good thing too. But
there was the Heaven's Gate. Remember the people that killed themselves, and there was actually some survivors because there was a comet coming, and they said that it was a giant spaceship, and everybody drunk their stuff.
Yeah,
they would die, and they would go aboard it, and off they went. Yeah, I mean, and that's just madness. Aye, that's just madness, and that's cults and stuff like that, and people believe in stuff, and that's the problem nowadays with like TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that. There is people out there, and they start like a rumor, there's going to be an asteroid strike in 2036 or something like that, and then everybody starts believing it, and they start getting ready for it, and then there's more folks start. Look at the flat earthers. Look at people that believe the Earth is flat. Right? That was started for a joke. That was actually started between two guys for a joke to see if they can get it started. It's actually true, and it's ridiculous. Look, it's the same. Look, if you go with the Bible, right? The Bible, you've got to remember, was written 500 years after Jesus died. Right, and it's like the game of telephone, right? It's like it's changed throughout the hundreds of years. And when it comes to Friday the 13th, because that is the subject for tonight, I mean, you've got the Knights Templars that were all burned on Friday the 13th, which is quite interesting. But it's not just that; there's myths and legends about strange going-ons in the 13th. So do you know anything about Friday the 13th? Come on, any of these?
I like Smith family's comment. It must have been two Scots saying it was flat.
It was. Seemingly it was two professors. It was two guys that were friendly, and they wanted to see if people would believe it. And after 2 years, it grew into such a conspiracy. They made millions out of it.
Do you know what that's called? Sheep.
Yeah.
Sheep. Yeah. People who don't. They follow what other people follow, but yet they've no idea what they bloody believe in.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't research it. They didn't look it up. They didn't open a book. They just listened to say, hey, the world is flat. And they believed it because it was the group. If you're in the gang, you're in the gang. And the one who stands out is different to say, no, it's not. It's round. So they're called sheep.
That's why we tell everybody to do their own research, because you've got to believe, you've got to do your own research to believe to make your own decisions, to believe in what you believe in at the end of the day. Because you've got to understand it.
Power is knowledge.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I was going to agree with Facebook user. I was going to say, oh, that's Stephen. And I was going to say, like, if I believe that my stomach is flat, well, then, hey, it's flat.
Well, there you go.
But, I don't believe that, so it's not really real. But, Stephen, I know I'm the same way.
The internet's been a good thing, but it's also been a bad thing. It's also... It's, as I'm about to say something here, I'll probably get burnt at the stake for this, but remember in the olden days, you used to have the village idiot, right?
Yeah.
Well, now you have the internet,
Idiot.
right? And we have people that believe, yes, we have idiots, and we have people that believe in the maddest things. I believe in aliens and all that, and extraterrestrials and the others. And it's, look, to kid on that we're the only life forms in this ginormous galaxy, universe, or whatever you want to call it, you'd be an idiot, right? It's like, look, of course there's life after death. I met somebody the other day there, and he says, oh, I don't believe in all that stuff that you're into. What stuff? And I says, oh, I don't believe in the afterlife. And then he gave me a flyer. I says, what's this for? And he says, oh, it's the church. If you go, it was I'm not going to say what religion it was, but it just says, oh, if you come to this, your soul will go to heaven.
Oh, the Lord.
But you just tell me there's no an afterlife. That's what I says to him. And he's like, oh, aye, but oh, no. Came out, I mean, that's the kind of idiocracy that we're living in.
That's exactly what I banged my table, so I knocked my light here now. So
go to church and things every Sunday to communicate with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is an entity for the other side that's communicating with them. So for them to say that they don't believe in the afterlife means that they don't believe in their gods and their whatever, because they are technically spirits on the other side that they go to worship every other week, So they don't believe in their own gods then.
If we to jump back to the Friday the 13th thing, obviously all the Knights Templars were rounded up and murdered because of what they believed in. And they believed in, obviously, they were the Holy Grail. They believed in the Holy Grail. That's what they say they believed in. Nobody knows what the Holy Grail is. It could be anything. It could be a cup. It could be a bloodline. It's actually thought it is actually a bloodline.
It could be a belief.
That's what people... It could be a belief. You're right. And they rounded all the Knights Templars up because they were getting very powerful. They were getting more powerful and more powerful. They actually had more money than the Catholic Church at one point, right? And they were all rounded up and dealt with on Friday the 13th, which is, it's like jealousy, really, isn't it? I mean, that's how that worked, because they had more money and because they were powerful.
What if the Holy Grail wasn't a cross? It wasn't a chalice, but it was a pentagram.
Yeah. Could have been, but the thing is, you'll never know because they'll never tell you.
Aye. But I think when we're saying about Chris, you were saying about your friend, this person who was, coming to you and yada yada yada. It reminds me of, and this is why I people always think I'm against religion. I'm not against religion. I have my opinions on it. But there was one particular woman, and she was a non-believer of the paranormal, non-believer, and she would be a family member, out of my family members. It might have been a mother-in-law, actually. But she was like, she hated her daughter-in-law, got out on an investigation, didn't believe in it, but yet she would go to the church every single day and clean up and flowers and whatever. And she hated her daughter-in-law to go out investigating in the paranormal. And we had to leave one location one night when things were getting really rockety and fantastic, and we had to drive home about 2-3 hours because something happened. And I said to this person, I said, so she goes to the church every day because she's going to the spirit in the sky that she believes in. And I always say, and I still stand my ground to this day, and anyone can come to me against it, and that'd be fine. I'll have a conversation with them. But we investigate and research life after death. We go out and investigate, and that's what we do. We could give you ask me for a video, I will give you a video. You ask me for audio, I'll give you audio. Can you give me something from the spirit in the sky? Now, every time I talk about religion, it happens in my house, so we're not going to talk about it very briefly here. But because I know they bloody hate me talking about it. But it's kind of like, we have evidence of life after death. We you know, and many people would disagree with me and say, no, you cannot prove it. And people would say to me, do you believe in life after death? And I would say, my own personal opinion, I would say yes. From what I've done in my investigations and research and experiments and so on, I would say yes. Each to their own. But this woman it was a bad thing to do. It was an evil thing to do. It was this and that. But there's books about religion, and there's Eric Klotz and whatever, and about religion. But there's no solid evidence of religion, if that makes sense. But anybody's very religious, don't come for me, because today is not the day, and I am not the one. So this is my opinion.
What do you think, Sherry? What's your opinion, Sherry, on all this?
Yeah, well, I most definitely believe in life after death. I have to do with all of the abilities and things that I've got. So yeah, I know that's out there. I know there are other creatures out there as well because I work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's each to your own. Like, you can't make everybody be a believer, okay? And you're gonna always have these people that cross you and say they don't believe in what you're doing. It's not real. It's not that. I do agree with what Jenny's saying and what Sister's saying, because I was christened, okay, but when my nan would take me to church, I couldn't link with it. I couldn't feel the love and the faith that you're supposed to feel in a church. I felt it in nature. I felt it in my witchcraft. Okay, that's where I got that love from. And even though a man called Jesus did walk round, I don't believe he's what people make him out to be. I believe he was just somebody spiritually open and able to do things like a lot of us can. And because he didn't want to change, and because he wanted to be who he was sacrificed. Because the simple fact is if there was such thing as he died for our sins, why is there still sin? Why is there still bad things that happen?
We're being
You know what I
tested.
mean? And that's what I can't get my head around. Like, and he died, and 500 years later, a Bible comes out. These are just words of people that believe that they had communication with him and that they've heard from him, or it's people that have just simply fantasized a simple person into something that's really massive, and people now believe that, you know, he's there and that. Please do not strike me down. I'm not saying I don't believe in him. I just don't believe in him in the way that I am being told. I believe that he is an energy. I don't believe he's a man. I believe he's an energy. He's universe. He's the nature. He's everything.
Yes. Do you feel it's and this is what I personally think. Religion is a man-made fear that
it is. It's all about control.
In Ireland, in Ireland,
definitely, yeah.
If you think about when you look at religion and that, it's supposed to be the most holiest thing. It's meant to be the most loveliest thing, but there is so much feminine and horrible stuff that these higher people do. Okay?
It's a man-made fear that we must obey God-fearing people. Do this, or God will come.
That's why there's so many spirits that don't cross. That's why there's so many spirits that don't cross, and why energies are so mixed up, because we're brought up in school to be taught who we should talk to, who we shouldn't talk to, how we should act, how we shouldn't act. And then in church, you're told you have to give so much money over to give to your Lord so that he can continue to love you. No, the Lord would love you without you giving him money. The Lord would not expect any of this stuff that you ask for. You know what I mean? Like, why? How is that? Why is this world here then? If we weren't paid to have this world, was we? So why would we have to pay him? And that's what I always try to argue with everyone. Like, it's okay to have your faiths and your beliefs, but open your eyes a little bit more, okay? Because these societies are not here because they love you. They're here to control you. They're here to take from you, and they're here to turn you against other people. That is what they do.
Exactly.
I'm not being funny. We're witches and we get put down. Christians will go around saying that we're the devils, and don't entertain us. Don't do this, don't do that. And we're the most, I'm sorry, we're more holy than a church person. We get on our knees every night and we pray for every person we know is suffering. We do spells and prayers for people that we know is suffering. A bit more than what a church does, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you know what? And I would I would, and like I will say today, when I said in the kitchen and saying whoever's giving me this bad juju, take it back and throw it back in their faces, so mote it be. And then I also said, Jesus, take the wheel. So I was kind of going for, I kind of went for both.
Look,
so, and I'm just going to say very quickly here, Chris, that we're not here bashing religion or Catholicism, anything like that. We are just saying our opinion, and each individual person, like you, Chris, Sherry, Drew, me, we have our own individual perceptions, and maybe we've had good experiences and bad experiences, but also man fearing doesn't do it for me. And I am Catholic, and when I get scared, I don't pray, but I'm like, gee, my favorite song is, and people think it's very funny because I know a few of my friends and whatever ex-friends would think it's funny because my favorite song is, before, if I'm gonna like lose my shit, people would play the song for me. Real, it's like take it from my hands because make me not go to prison. I'm joking, but I like to play the song Jesus Take the Wheel sometimes, and people think it's funny when I do, and it's just so my little calm down song. So I'm not against religion. I'm just not stupid to the people who run religion.
That way. Yeah.
People who run the religion.
And if people are wondering why we're talking about this, is because obviously Friday the 13th came about from religion. Because that's where it came from. Religion. Because obviously we had all these Knights Templars. There were that's what the dad did. They owned castles, and they became more powerful and more powerful, and the more powerful they became, the more money they had. And the Catholic Church were the ones that burnt them at the stake. They hunted them all down.
There you go. Catholic, but why?
Yeah.
Here we go. Catholic again. Murder people at the stake.
Yes, but here's the thing. It's always happened throughout the ages. Look what happens to if you were a witch, for instance. If you go back 500 years ago, 400 years ago, even if you go back 400 years ago, 300 or 400 years ago, if you were a witch, there was a thing called the witch trials that happened in Scotland. It happened in Ireland. It happened in Ireland and Scotland. Ireland and Scotland was the main places where it happened. And then obviously America.
Can I read out a little bit why Friday the 13th is unlucky? And this is because it's religion again. According to the biblical tradition, 13 guests attended the Last Supper held on Monday being Maundy, Thursday included Jesus and his 12 apostles, one of whom Judas betrayed him. The next day, of course, was Good Friday, the day of Jesus' crucifixion. The seating arrangement at the Last Supper is believed to have given rise to a long-standing Christian superstition that having 13 guests at a table was a bad omen, specifically that it was counting death. Though Friday's negative associations are weaker, some have suggested they also have roots in Christianity tradition, just as Jesus was crucified on a cross, crucified on a Friday. Friday was also said to be the day even Adam gave the fateful apple from the tree of knowledge, as well as the day Cain killed his brother Abel. So that's all the 13th and 13th and 13th and 13th, which is why it's a bad day. So religion, again, a wee bit.
It shows you how religion has shaped this world, because it really has shaped this world. I mean, you to look what's happening in the Middle East, and that's what's causing all of this, because of the Holy Land, right? Because of the Holy Land, just because of a bit of ground where someone was crucified, right? Yes, it was Jesus who was crucified. But here's the thing interesting about Jesus, right? And I actually looked into this. Jesus was known for, obviously, he came back for the dead and all that kind of stuff. But how do we really know? Because it was 500 years the Bible was right. What happens if Jesus was just like Chariot, or Jesus was like Drew, or Jesus was like somebody we know, or like Danny, for instance? That he had powers where he could do like, where he could see the future.
That's what I said.
He definitely was.
He was like us. He was like us and different. And everybody
persecuted him for it.
He could tell things and he could see things. Suddenly he was a god, and then suddenly become more and more and more, and then people started following the whole.
Because people were following him.
And there's so much control in this world. It isn't just through religion, it's through everything that we use every day as well. It isn't just in religion, it's in everything.
Do you know what? Sorry,
Right.
I want to say this very quickly, and it's just a question there that's just popped into my head. The two people I would
Fire away.
love to question even more is Mary and Joseph, and how
Yes.
the Virgin Mary. I'm more intrigued about these two people. Like, you know, they did nothing, but like she's pregnant. I want to know.
Yes.
Well,
I got
actually-
shocked.
I got blasted down for doing that a few months back because I turned around and said, "Look, I understand that you love Jesus and that Mary was meant to have been
Immaculate
gifted
conception.
with this baby." And I got into this conflict that how can you believe that a woman was impregnated without having intercourse? And I was going on about how if that was the case, then why all of these women out there that can't have children and would be amazing mothers have never been given that gift? If that is the case,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? Why has it not been done to all these women that can't have kids?
Everyone's going to Jesus and forgetting about Mary and Joseph. And people
Mary was a person that had an affair, that had Jesus' back probably,
Yeah.
and didn't know how to tell him.
Well, actually, would you go, Jenny? And then I'll
no, I was
say
going to
my
say
thing.
something there, but my filter worked, and I just said, "Don't say it, Jenny. Don't say it." So you can continue on, Chris.
Well, I'm going to tell you a wee story here that I used to know someone. Everybody's heard of the Masonic Lodge.
Yes.
I have.
And I knew someone. I knew a soul man. I'm not going to say who his name is because he's dead now. He passed away. Sorry. I hope you're looking at me for Beyond the Veil. And we were talking one night, and I was talking to him one day. Sorry, and I said to him, "What is?" Because they were trying to get me to join the lodge. Because I've been invited 4 times to join, but every time I refuse it because I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Sorry, Chris. I don't mean to. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't know what that is.
Do you know, Ken, the Masonic Lodge, the Masonic Masons, the Masonic Lodge? It was the Masonic Order. You never heard of the Masonic
That's where
Order?
the Hellfire Club starts from.
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
Hellfire moves more with me than the Masonic.
It's like the Illuminati, but downside the Masonic Masons, there's the Lodge, all that kind of stuff. This is what he was a Grand Master, right? 33 Mason, right? And we actually had a conversation. And I says to him, I've got a theory for you because I used to go walks. And I says, I've got a theory about the Holy Grail. And he says, all right, when you go. And he says, I believe that Jesus had a wife. And he's like, aye. And they had a wedding. They were actually married. And that kid, which is probably still alive to this day, will obviously know that kid, but the bloodline of that kid is still alive to this day, whoever they are. That is the Holy Grail. And he looked at me and he went, Ken, you might just be right about that. You might just be right about that. And then he showed me, he gave me a book. And inside the book, it's today it's Noah Cup. It's Noah Cup. Everybody kens that. It's Noah Cup. And it is today with Jesus. And he had a family. He had a family. He was married and he had children. And that's what the Grail is. It's like people have said in the chat, it's a bloodline. And they're still alive till this day. Obviously,
probably, yeah.
God knows who they are. God knows who they are. But it's like, have you ever seen the Da Vinci Code?
Jesus. I didn't mean to say.
Yes.
People will know who they are, though. People will know that bloodline, I do believe.
But see, this is actually interesting.
The simple fact is, Jesus was just a normal person like us. That was maybe just a little bit special, okay? And because he believed in what he done, and because he didn't want to change what he wanted, because he obviously see this world in a different way like we do, they killed him for it. It wasn't because
the people were starting to follow him.
Exactly. He's the savior. He's nothing to do with him being the savior.
Well,
welcome in, Three Souls.
Hey, Three Souls. But this is actually an interesting fact, right? We all know that the Masonic Masons, who did the Masonic Masons work for? They worked for the Knights Templars.
Yeah.
That's who they worked for, right? They worked for the Knights, the builders for the Knights Templars. They built the chapels, they built the churches, they built the cathedrals, they built the tombs, and they built other secret hiding places, right? Right? What happens if the church hunted them down, the Knights Templars, because they knew who Jesus really was? You see where I'm going with
Well,
this?
never know.
You see where I'm going
Uh-huh.
with? You see where I'm going with this? They knew that Jesus had a bloodline. They knew that Jesus had a family,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And that's why, not because they were rich and powerful, maybe that a wee bit too, but they were hunted and they were all murdered by the Catholic Church and Rome and stuff like that for the knowledge that they possessed who Jesus really was. You think about it, what it would do to the Catholic Church today. You think about how powerful the Catholic Church is today.
The
You
All
think
Catholic
the
about how powerful
churches,
it is.
not just the Catholic
It's
one,
all the
all
churches. It's
churches.
not just I know that's what I'm saying. It's not just Catholic Church. It's all the churches, right? Can you imagine what would happen if Jesus was found to be married and had children?
But the Catholic Church hides literally everything.
Everything.
They're the biggest
yeah.
liars of the world. I would trust other religions more than I would trust the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is, and I'm going to say it, and oh God, please don't. I say, God, I'm going to give out about Janelle in a second, but please don't strike me. I'm going to say that the Catholic Church is more evil than other religion. And I
Yeah,
said,
the Catholic religion is the most religion that makes sense in my eyes.
I
But
think
the corruptness behind it is bad.
I have to say, that's my dog snoring. I have to say, and I know people are going to give out to me, and that's fine. Listen, I've got tough skin, but this is my thoughts. And I find Catholic religion is very evil. And I'm sorry, listen, I am sorry, God, I'm saying it, but your people on the earth who's dressing up to serve you are shit. Because they're bad, not all of them,
Not
but
all of them.
some of
Some
them
of them
are
are good.
bad people. And why does the church cover up everything? And they've covered up a lot of shit, especially in Ireland. The nuns and the priests, listen, people know not to put me in front of a nun and a priest because I'm not there for it. I fucking hate them. And I said, yes, I did. I don't like them. If you put me in front of them, I'm like a chihuahua. I will bite your goddamn ankles. I just don't like them. I just find there's my light. Oh, see, my light's going now. Sorry, Jesus. I'm sorry. My light, my tape.
It's an interesting fact that actually. It's an interesting fact that Jenny's an interesting point that Jenny actually has, because if you look at this, like the Catholic Church, a lot of people don't necessarily. You ever heard the Paris catacombs? Right, you've all heard the Paris catacombs, haven't you? You've all heard about the Paris catacombs underneath Paris, right? A lot of people don't realise that underneath the Vatican,
Stephanie, the way she's
underneath the Vatican City, there is literally hundreds and hundreds of miles of tunnel systems underneath Vatican City, and it's basically books. It's everything. It's like
hidden
works of art. It's everything that's stashed away, and people are not allowed to get that. And coming back to the Friday the 13th thing, it was a lot of the stuff that was took was from the Knights Templars that were took, and it's stashed away until this day. Nobody's allowed to see what they took from the Knights Templars.
I'm going to say one more thing as well. I think people are Catholic and religious, but I think they're angry with the church, that some are afraid to say it and some are not afraid to say it. But most people are afraid to talk about how they feel about the church and the religion.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. That really is understandable. But then you get someone like me who doesn't give a shit.
It probably depends on your experience as well, though, doesn't it?
Sorry?
It depends on your experience with them as well, I suppose.
Well, yes, that is definitely true. But I love Stephanie right now. I'm your biggest fan right now, lady. I'm your biggest fan. And I think it's people who are Stephanie, do a show with me. I do a show as well. Do a show with me. And I know most people hate when we talk about religion or hate when I talk about religion.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm going to tell. Listen, I tell you things. If you see things in my house right now, just ignore it. You know, it's probably a dog or two. But I have to say, I am very angry. I am pissed with the way they hid pedophilia. I am pissed the way they hid priests and nuns in Ireland. I'm pissed with it. And we have to see this Catholic Irish. Hold on. I want to say a bad word. Hold on. And the way they hid babies, and the way they put babies and made young women who are impregnated by rape or pedophilia into work homes and let their babies go, and it wasn't the women's fault, it was the men's fault, but the men got away with it because of fucking religion. Sorry I said the F word again, I'm sorry, but I get passionate when we talk about religion. Please talk about religion, don't let me on, because I will say it. But the women got the hardness of it, and it wasn't their fault. And then they're put into these workhouses with these priests and nuns. And they had to go through it with the priests and nuns again when they're supposed to be in there for safety. Oh, because you sinned, but you didn't sin. It was the men who hurt these women, and the women who got hurt by these fucking priests. I'm sorry, I'm going to say the F word again. That these women had to
no monetization for you tonight, Christopher.
I'm sorry.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
It's a hardcore subject, but women.
Oh no, you still get monetized if you swear. That's fine.
Because of religion.
Do you not ken that?
Women suffered because of religion, and
they did
because of this. So let's not sit down and put our hands underneath our arses and say nothing, because we'll all be little, follow the sheep, follow the sheep. That feck we are following the sheep. I think it's crock of bullshit, and the religion it's a God-fearing motherfucker. I said fecker.
Stephanie's agreeing with you.
No, you don't. Look, you don't lose your monetization for swearing. By the way, that's a total math.
Oh, I am agreeing with you as well.
You better not.
And there's a lot of that in a lot of religion as well. Like back in the olden days, if you was young and you got pregnant and stuff, you'd be sent off to these places. And like Jenny was saying, there's supposed to be places where you could recuperate and build yourself again, but instead you would get beat, and you'd get in trouble for things you hadn't done. And like sometimes like they would beat religion into you. They would literally beat religion into you. You have to love God. You have to do this. You have to do that. And if you stepped one step out of line, you would know about it. Literally.
Can I say one more thing as well? Sorry, Sherry. Can I say one more thing as well? When people are getting married, a young couple or a couple getting married, and they have to do priest courses, and I'm like that. Fuck, am I taking a priest course? Because I did a registry office thing at the time. I ain't going to no church. But they also ask you, are you sexually compatible? What is it of your business if they are sexually compatible? So I get you not. In Ireland, they say, and how you have to have a mutual sex life and a good sex life. And is it love me? And the priest is asking the couple to get married before they want to get married. They have to do a marriage course. They have to say, they ask them, are they sexual compatible and whatnot? This is a priest asking a couple. And I'm thinking, Jesus made me sure I did never. When I did get married, I got within a registry office. That didn't last too long. and it was just, if a priest asked me that, I remember when I was doing a walk down through when my sister was getting married. And I said to the priest, the priest, and I said, Father, you'll have a cup of tea, won't you? Go on, Father. Sure, you will. And he looked at me like he could turn me into stone if he wanted to. Like he had no sense of humor. But this priest was asking the couple before they got married, how is your sex life? You have to have a good sex life to have a good marriage. And I'm saying, the Lord Jesus, take the wheel. I am. Oh my
Colin.
Look.
Tina had to do that.
I'm just going to say some people have the chat. Your discretion is advised, but look, you're not going to lose your monetization for swearing, because me and Dakota swear every night, every Saturday and Sunday night. Aye, we don't. You don't lose your monetization for swearing and stuff like that. I will say discretion as advised, because look, that's what's wrong with the world nowadays. That's what's wrong. I mean, we're going back to Friday the 13th. It's all caused by this. That's what caused it. I wouldn't say Friday the 13th was an unlucky day. It's unlucky for some.
Yeah.
It's unlucky for some that's doing in history. Obviously, Jenny had a kind of bad day today, but what I mean is
but that isn't because of it being the 13th, Friday the 13th.
No, it's just about a normal day. Average days.
Given because of, like you said, people were killed on that day, things that happened.
Yeah.
And they looked at that as being bad luck, when it's not. This day is not a bad luck day.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a normal day like any other day. Okay, this
Sherry,
isn't a bad day. This is a special day. You just got to realise that.
I think, Sherry, sorry. I think for the last 2 weeks, I said it on my live on Monday or Tuesday when I was out. I said I'm having shitty luck for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't had that in a long time. And do you know what it feels like? It genuinely, and I never feel like this, but it genuinely feels like someone has done something on me.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding with you. I'm not like that kind of person that would think that. But I said it to Louise as well, and I said, I think someone put a fucking curse on me, and I don't know who. And I'm thinking to myself, go F yourself, blah blah blah. And that's what I said this morning, you know.
Because there's a lot of negativity being aimed your way right now in life. So that therefore affects like a curse and a hex.
You've faced a lot recently, Jenny. We don't need to go into detail yet. And despite everything you've gone through and stuff, like this energy can stay on you. Okay.
Yeah.
No matter how much you're trying to let go of it and you're trying to forget about it, you're trying to move on, this energy is going to affect you. So these couple of weeks could just be you like
releasing.
You know what I mean? And just things are just not going to plan. But I'm not saying you've not been cursed either, but
I would put a lot of selenite around your home right now.
I can't see it being a curse. I
I
think
have a feeling it's like
you've got a lot of upsetting energy around you, and I think it's affecting what you're doing and how you're acting.
Yeah, I think, Sherry, it's because my clumsiness or like stupidity or absent-minded sometimes when I'm tired, but I had good sleep in the last few nights. But like anything, I mean, you feck up one time in a day. I think I went from 6:30 this morning up until I sat down in my chair tonight. And I almost put myself in a bubble wrap with a straw, with a hole in my bubble wrap, with a straw and a bottle of wine, and just say, right, I'm like, you can't touch me.
Start doing some techniques though, Jen. See when you get out your car or wherever you get out of your bus or whatever, before you go home, knock yourself off, knock your shoes off and things to get rid of any negative energy before you go in your front door. And then when you get in there, try and get some cellular powers to put around your home, so that if there is any energy sent your way, it will absorb it through time.
I have a lot of it here.
Yeah.
I could just like hold, or I could throw it at someone and it will knock all the bad stuff out. But I would do a dance in my driveway. If I had to do a dance, whatever I had to do in my driveway to shake negativity off,
it will start going through time, because if it's constantly been aimed at you, you're going to have to constantly do the work, such as even saging yourself every day, twice a day, whatever it takes.
Saging cleanse when you go out, when you come back in, you know, just asking, please put positive energy over me. Please put positive energy over me. Like, remove the negative energy. You've got to constantly, like Drew's saying, you've got to constantly do that. You can't just go there. You're having this couple of weeks bad, and you just say one day, and then you're like, hopefully it's going to go. You've got to keep that persistent, especially if somebody has put something on you. That's how you're going to get it out.
Honestly, I know what you mean.
Sorry, no, Chris, go ahead. I'll keep talking. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, look, I've felt like that where I felt like somebody's put a curse on me. I've had curses put on me. I ken that for a fact, because I've had help to remove them. I've got friends out there that's helped me remove spirits, and spells. Folk have put actual ritual curses on me. I've never actually told anybody this before, and I know exactly who it was that put the curse on me. And I'll maybe tell you behind the show, but I found out who it was, and I had it reversed. But I think if you have it, if you think positive, like Sherry says, if you think positive, and obviously every day, like Drew says, to imagine like a force field running about you, right? Every day you wake up, imagine you've got the light running about you, and imagine that it's just reflecting off. Okay, what I mean? But
not easy to get rid of these type of things. You have to change your full way of thinking as well, and always try to think positive, because these things will absorb any negative feelings that you're having, and they will just keep attaching to that. So
you can't always sit there and think, oh, I'll run to a witch to get me the help and reverse that. You can reverse that through your mind and through what you feel. You know what I mean?
When I was standing in my kitchen, and every time something happened, and I was like, Like every time it happened, and I was like, and I almost played the song "Jesus Take the Wheel," but every time something happened and the dog tripped me over.
One of these days, our mic's not going to work.
I keep looking down and make I keep looking down the microphone to make sure the light stays red.
It's fair if you want. You're fine. Look, you're allowed to swear. It's an 18-rated show.
I've done enough
Yeah, I mean, it's an adult show.
Ever, like, when it comes to religion, I'm very passionate when it comes to religion. And like I say, we're not getting at people who are religious because it's against them or towards them. It's individual. When we talk about religion,
about the fear that religion has put in people, especially with the Friday the 13th things and things, how it pushes on into every generation.
Yes, I'm laughing at Stephanie's daughter.
I mean, it's madness.
When she
I'm reading the chat there.
Sorry, I'm looking at Stephanie's daughter. When I went, my daughter did her first confession. She pulled out a list, looked at the priest, and said, "This is going to take a minute." Oh, I love her. Deadly. That's deadly. Every time I into a church, my friend would say, "Jenny, are you burning yet? Do you feel the pain? Do you feel sizzling?" I'm like, she's taking the.
Oh Christ! Every time I walk into a church, I bust
out. Same as me. Yeah,
exactly. If that was really the case, every time we go onto a grave, like this is what makes me laugh when people say, like, you get it a lot from like the sort of English sort of religions, like Christianity and stuff, like where they go on about all these witches and they'll burn at the stake and they can't step into the church because they'll whatever. I walk around on graveyards most of my life, you know what I mean? Walked around on graveyards, I've spoke to spirit, and I'm a witch. Why have I not burnt them? You know, like
absolutely
the simple fact, right? The Lord, the God, whatever you want to call him, the goddess, whatever, like, okay, because I believe it's all just one energy, okay? Whoever it is, okay, right? They're not here to look up on you. They're not here to judge you. They did not say, right, we want Christian, Catholic, but we don't want witches. They made us the way we're supposed to be, okay?
We're the healers.
People and these arseholes that come by and turn around and go, "Yo, you're going to burn in hell when you're not loved by God." Well, fool, and it's God that's created all of us and created this world. So he made us this way. So why would he hate what he created?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's
yeah.
I would say this too, that a lot of it it's fear and a lot of it's jealousy too.
Yeah.
If you think of you,
let's
go back 500 years, right? Let's go back to, let's say, I don't know, the Pilgrims in America, right? Let's go back to the Pilgrims in America, right? And they could see like maybe a healer like Sherry. She maybe gave herbs and healed people, right? And because she was doing that, they were like, "Oh, she's the devil, she's the devil." And they would burn her at the stake or dunk them in the water or stuff like that. And it's fear that does it. So if they had to do that to like Sherry, for instance, 500, 400 years ago or something like that, what about Jesus? What was if Jesus, when Jesus came along and he was healing people just by touching them?
Was Jesus not with Miriam? Oh, I'm going to get this probably wrong now.
I don't know. I've read the Bible once and it just about killed me.
Was he not? What he had something with Mary Magdalene, who was stoned. She was stoned. I could be saying it wrong. If I'm saying it wrong, someone correct me. But they had, in what my knowledge was, that they had something like Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and she was a prostitute.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be wrong. So someone correct me.
I don't know my Bible.
I don't know my Bible either. You could be right.
That's what they stoned her to death. They literally stoned her to death. And I watched the movie, The Crucifixion. I watched that movie. I didn't want to, but I did. Right. I watched little bits of it, and let me tell you, did it make me? It made me very religious at one point. I didn't go, I didn't go to church, but it made me like, oh my God, oh my God. And it made me feel like that because it was a very passionate movie and it was a powerful movie. And it was beautiful.
That's because you're tuning into the concept behind the God energy through that movie. That's opening up your spirituality a little bit more.
It made me emotional. So Mary Magdalene was the prostitute, so I was
Oh,
right.
yeah.
God, I listened. I actually listened at one point. I can't remember where, but I did. So did Jesus he did have a thing with Mary Magdalene. He did. And that's why she was stoned.
That's what the Knights Templars protected. That's what the Knights Templars protected. Yeah.
So that movie was powerful. It was emotional and it was powerful, and it made me think for a minute or two. And then I became into what I became into within the paranormal field, and not because of the paranormal field. I'm not going to say that because of my religion with paranormal, but it was like that since I was a child with this, and media and so on gave out more of the truth of the church. And people want to hide it, and the popes want to hide it, and we get it. The popes want to hide it. The only pope I like was Pope John Paul, and I did like him. I did. I'm not going to lie. I did like him.
That was the right old guy, wasn't it? That was the right old
man.
I
liked him. The last two. Wait. There was one that I found very funny, a YouTube video when everyone went up to kiss his hand. He kept moving his hand. They wanted to kiss the ring. And it was a YouTube video, and he kept moving his hand away. I thought it was very funny. But that's the only thing I thought Jesus. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the comments here. That Jesus had a thing with Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, Mary Magdalene's in my Keepers of the Light oracle card.
Well, oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
So Stephanie's saying there's actually documents that show. Sorry, Chris. The whole prostitute thing may have been made up to get women to conform. Oh.
Look, I'm going to say
nobody will ever know the true story behind it all, because it's all been misconstrued so much.
Exactly. You're never going to get the true story.
Absolutely not. No.
Look how many Bibles are out there, and there's about 15. There's God knows how many versions of Bible, and nothing ever says the same thing. You know?
It's always a new book all the time.
I'm going to say this, right? The Christianity, religion, right? Believing in Jesus and that, right? I'm going to say this the new. It's got some good rules. It has got some good rules that I shall not kill and stuff like that. And it has got some really, and I will help my fellow man and stuff like that. But it is one of the most sexist books I've ever read in my entire life. I mean, if you had to go back, do you think the way that women were treated? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, especially with other religions, I'm not going to mention them, the way they treat the women people is diabolical.
Well, back when you look at it in the olden days, it was always the men were heard and the women were not. Even if you were like rich or like you were high in society and that, the men always were the ones that had the power for some reason, and the women were the ones that had to sit there and look pretty and be all dressed up. Like, you know, the women would not be allowed to speak before the man tells them to, things like that. Now, I don't agree in any of that, and there are still people in this world today that believe that. You know what I mean? And we're equal, man or woman. Okay, we're equal, and
everyone's the same.
Through society, you've seen that over the years that the women have always been the ones that have been down targeted. We're the ones that had to do what our men wanted. We're the ones that had to, you know, if we got pregnant when we weren't married, we'd have to give the child up. Some of us would have died in childbirth doing this. You know what I mean? And we're held responsible. We're the ones that lost our families, not the boy that done that to us. We would. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much.
Yeah.
I'm not against religion, and I'm not going to mock anybody's religion. Everybody's got something they believe in, and that I just. My religion is nature. That's the true way. I'm sorry, it is. The nature and the universe does not come and tell you what shoot you down and treat you wrong. It treats you the way you need to be. When you give into it, it gives into you. Okay, that is the difference. It doesn't ever try to upstep you. Like, you feel your true connection in nature, and that you do, because that is what we're not. We're not this Lord Jesus Christ's children. We are nature's and the universe's children. And that's what people need to start to see.
Yep.
See, I find it interesting what the Smith family's saying, right? They're going on about Adam and Eve and stuff like that. We don't know. We've only got a book to tell us what happened with Adam and Eve and the snake and the apple and stuff like that, right? Come on, it could have been anything. See how it says they were made in like their own image, like God's own image, right?
Yep.
Can you imagine what would happen to civilization if aliens came along one day and said, "Listen, we made you 100,000 years ago to populate this world"?
But there are so many
Yeah, I
stories
mean,
between Adam and Eve as well. In Christianity, they took the apple, they done this, they done that. In another religion, it was that that she was made by the rib of Adam, of the concept of the male. She was made by the rib. So there's so many different stories. Like, how can you sit there and say you believe that this is real? I'm sorry.
What if Jesus was a man who was a healer, of course, and remember all the people were starting to follow him and things, and that is why he got stoned to death or whatever it was. What if he was on a mission to find other healers, other people like him, to start to form his own community and things, and that is why they had to put a stop to it, because it wasn't conforming to the government people, because think about it, government probably started a way back then.
But that's what I said, wasn't it? That is what I said in this. I said he was just a person like us that was spiritually open, could see things, could see the world differently,
and just wanted to go find other people like him.
If he was here like that, there's got to be others. Like Sister Drew's saying. So he's seeking, and then obviously he got caught, and because he wouldn't give up his rights and give up what he was, they killed him.
It could have even been aliens it could have been aliens that he knew everybody started from as well. Who knew? Who knows what he all knew?
See, this is the thing, right? I think it's quite interesting that it says, "But man has one less rib than woman." I mean, it's quite interesting. I did not know that. There you go, learn something new every day. Look, we don't know what happened all day thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th could have been made a nice day for all you can. It could have been like Christmas if they so blessed it be that day. But they didn't. They thought, "Oh, let's murder all the Knights Templars on that day. You know, let's burn them all at the stake because they're preaching something that we don't believe in, and let's just burn them all at the stake."
That's what I'm saying. Anybody that was trifling a little bit different would be the ones that were murdered. The witches were murdered. The Masons were murdered. The Knight Templars were murdered. All because we're different.
Exactly, because we didn't conform to the powers that
we're evil, or we're venom, or we're part of the devil. Nothing like that, because we were different and we see the truth, which a lot of you don't. You know what I mean? And we were killed for that. I believe I was killed. I've been a witch more than just in this life. I know that I've been killed as a witch 3 times.
Yeah, I think that about myself as well. No.
I think that's why we have such passion about it now. Like when, for instance, when that stupid Christian man decided to be trying to bring back the witch trials, me and Sis were up on that. Like, I don't think so. Like,
when was that?
You know what I mean? Like, we literally done
mad scream.
When was that, Sherry?
This was a couple of years ago. It was about
Bishop Locke in America. Bishop Locke in America last year or the year before decided he was going to try. Bishop Locke.
Bishop.
L-O-C-K-E. Decided he wanted to bring back the witch trials.
He had over 8.8 million followers, okay? And he would stand in this church and he would cuss out witches. And he'd apparently found out he had 3 to 6 witches in his thing. And he was going, "I cussed you out and you were in my wife's..." And I'm going to, like, literally, he was going around to people's houses that were known to be witches and burning all of their witch books, anything to even resemble being a witch.
He was trying his hardest to get the witch trials back in his church and in his faith.
And his name was Bishop something.
Yeah.
Bishop Locke. L-O-C-K-E.
Bishop Locke, that's right.
Bishop Locke, L-O-C-K-E.
He was actually he was actually arrested. Seemingly, he wasn't arrested, but he was found to be having an affair with one of the other women. He'd made it all
Oh,
up
yeah.
just to get followers. He was mad.
He
You
didn't
don't hear
just do
from
that.
him
He used to
because it doesn't exist.
he used to beat his wife up as well.
Oh, he beat
That's
them,
some
yeah.
holy man that beats his
Yeah.
wife up. You know what I mean? But then to have the cheek to sit on there and go on about witches and how we're dirty and we get them out of the church. If you come back here next week, I'll
We
get
were
them
going,
to
yeah,
and
it
I'll
really
rip them
was.
out.
There he's there. Thank you.
nasty.
When it
I
comes
thought it was that. Thank you. There's Phoenix.
Pastor Locke,
No,
yeah.
Bishop. Pastor
I was going
Locke.
to say,
Yeah,
What-
sorry.
Pastor
I'm going
Locke,
to say,
yeah.
what's the ones about the ones who can get married and the ones who can't? And that's my next question: is the priest who can get married and the pastors who can get married? One can and one can't get married. So,
Yeah.
and I always think now this is what I think. I'm going to say what I think again. Don't we love when Jenny says what she thinks? I know. I'll see it up and buckle up. Jenny's going to say what she thinks.
Welcome in, Kayla.
Hi, Kelly.
Hello, Kelly.
Oh, I hope that's for the priest and not for us, who's your hypocrites, because we're not doing that. Hope it's not for the priests. But when priests can, get married to God, and that's who they get married to. But I always say they are made of human blood and flesh, and they have human urges. And I find that here we go again, Jennifer and I, and that the church hides. I know. I'm sorry if I keep going on, but I'm going to do it anyway.
That's fine.
But they hide everything. They hide everything.
15 minutes of the show left anyway when you go.
Okay, let's make the best of it. Okay, so they hide everything because men are made of flesh and blood. Women are made of flesh and blood. We have wants and we have needs. But when men get married to God, I find it's the children who suffer because they cannot. Like pastors can get married and live their lives and live humanly, if that makes sense, and their wants and their needs. Mm-hmm. When priests get married to God, they can't, so they have to be celibate for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. And I find the children suffer. And yes, I said it. Don't mute it, Jen. I won't mute. No, I won't mute it. But then the children suffer, and that's the truth. And the church covers it up.
Yes.
They cover it up. So I think the church, as we all know, the church has a lot to say and what they should say and what they don't. And the ones who do say it, they're condemned and they're put into XYZ files or whatever. But it is what it is. Men are married to God.
Yeah.
And it's the children who suffer. And yes, I'm saying it's the children who suffer. And who's going to speak up?
Yes,
the church hides it. But
they never learn from their mistakes either. They always just keep covering up and covering up and covering up. They never learn.
They have to understand when you have this faith and you're married to God, the church has to understand these. Yes, Aaron, I had to mute myself for a second.
It must have been too bad.
It was short and sweet and simple, but they cover it up. But the children, the church just doesn't see it, or they hide it. So they have a cover up. Sorry, I keep muting myself because I keep cursing. Right. But it is what it is. They have. What can we do about it? What can we bloody well do about it?
What I'm going to say is this, right? See the Bible, right? And this is my honest opinion about the Bible. It's designed for man, not for women. It's designed for man. It's got a lot of good aspects in it, right? Now, it's got a lot of good aspects in it, but it's designed. If you take back to like the 18th century,
but it's outdated now. It served a purpose years ago, but now I don't feel as if it. Yeah, I don't feel as if it serves no sense having a Bible
anymore.
It
was man-made. It was made for man because they believed that man was the greater energy than the female. But now it's equal today. You've got strong men and you've got strong women, and some of us women are not going to stand there and let a man tell us what we can.
And the rules got people through fear.
We're
And
equal.
then say, Sherry, preach.
Preach it. Yeah, we are. We are equal, and we have the rights to stand up for our bodies because we're the ones that give birth. We're the ones that have to do all this crap. So you can't sit there and say that we're weak.
And it's man-made. I'm not against men here now. I'm going to say it. It's not
It's
against
definitely a man-made book.
men. Not at all. We're just saying.
Poor Chris there. God bless him up there in the corner now.
This is like.
I know. It's man-made, and yet it's women who have.
Wands.
We'll
make a crucifix.
No, don't do that with the wands. It came from religion to hating on men. We're not hating on men. It's the men who made. And listen, it's like the words of Beyonce, who runs the world?
Who runs the world? Girls. Not really, but that is what it's.
So, ladies,
it's
been a great show today, hasn't it, Christopher? Who are we having on next week?
No, what I was going to say, if anybody's got any complaints that they would like to send in, please message Jenny in the comments.
Emerald Isle.
www.
Or just leave them below.
.com.
Comment below.
Just comment below, leave a message below. We love you all, So do any of you guys have any shows this weekend?
Well, we and Sister Sherry are going to be talking and starting our Witchcraft 101 shows back up. So anybody that's interested in learning witchcraft from the very thought in your mind.
Jenny, you can
begin this episode.
I am up for it. I'm up for it. I would love to do that.
So check that out. That is going to be coming very soon.
Awesome. That's awesome. I want to see that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'm going to be obviously doing that with Sister Drew. I've got a lot of that stuff I'm doing with these other people as well. I've got a meditation stream on Sunday. Not live, is pre-recorded, and hopefully tomorrow, touch wood, I will be able to get some spirit box session or something in.
Oh, fabulous.
So that I can talk to the spirits and stuff. So I am trying to, but don't hold me to that. But there's definitely a show on Sunday because it's up and waiting. So
if it's not ready tomorrow, I'll go up Lover's Lane because I've been promising everybody to go up before the season ends.
It's been raining.
Keep an eye out, guys.
I wanted to go to the church, but it started raining and everything. And I was like, so I want to take the flowers up there and do that little picnic for him, like I said I was going to do, but I can't because it keeps raining.
Yeah, and Sister Sherry gave me a good idea. See all the old toys that I'm going to get rid of in my home. You could take it to the cemeteries and give it to the kids, the ancient kids. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing that. Keep an eye out for that, guys. That'll be this week.
No complaints. Good. There shouldn't be no complaints. We're sticking up for women's rights.
Yeah,
we are sticking up. We are rising.
Another thing I say is anything a man can do, women can do it better wearing high heels. Yes, yes, we can. Oh my Lord!
We weren't made curvy and busty for no reason,
Because the thing that's something you don't really get much right in the ghost hunting community. Like everybody contacts ghosts and spirits and stuff like that through books, getting their gadgets and that. They never really contact Jesus, do they? Some folks say there is a lot of fake YouTubers out there. We know who they are that make certain apps and that, and they say they speak to Jesus, and they say they speak to Jesus every night and all that, and he tells them he's amazing and stuff like that. But let's face it, there's a lot of fake.
Why has he never been over the spirit boxing?
That's what I've never
heard.
All
you ever hear is divine, angels, or whatever. You never hear God or anybody like that come through saying it's Jesus.
Even if you did call out to him, I do believe you would have to give him the respect of making it private because he's too high up.
He wouldn't waste his time coming through a spirit box. He's too busy.
Busy. It's like Archangel Michael. You only call upon Archangel Michael when you feel you really need it and you really need it quick. Like I needed it that day in the cemetery. Because these angels are far too busy. That is why they've got their next lower down energies to help. But they do come if you do shout for them and you really need them, they will come. But I think you have to give the energies higher than that a bit of respect and not just want to say, I want to speak to you, come here. You have to give them the respect to letting them do what they need to do on the other side.
Yeah, you do.
No.
You do.
I'm going to say this before I go. I'm going to say that a lot of these right staunch Christians, a lot of these people that have went to church like 3 times a day, every day, their whole entire life, I think they get a big shock when they cross over.
Yeah, I
see what
believe
it's really
that.
like. I want to see that. See when I do, and I go to the afterlife, I'm going to say, listen, can I sit here and wait till a really staunch Christian comes out? I just want to see their face when they realise what.
There'll be a lot of them in the waiting room that Eli was talking about. I bet you that is where 90% of them are, is in the waiting room thinking, wow.
I agree with that as well, Lulu. What Lulu? Like I think there's a lot of people that have said that spirits have come through saying we're in heaven, but they've never. Not a lot of them mention God. They just mention we're in heaven, we're in the light, we're, there's someone nice. Yeah.
Now I know, because I know myself and Lulu listen to the same audio, but we have had the same word heaven, and we've heard it before, and it's kind of like, did we hear that? Is it the golden sun?
But it's a descriptive word as well. The spirits can be using it as a word to describe a heavenly energy, heavenly place.
Not necessarily a place, but heaven.
Would it be their own perception of heaven?
Yes.
Of where they are. Yeah. So I think myself and Lulu. Sorry, I think myself and Lulu, when we hear, sorry, Chris, when we hear that word heaven again, a particular location,
everywhere.
we would have to, maybe, Louise, I know you, hope you're still listening, that we would kind of, the next question we would ask him is like, what is your heaven? What can you see? And hopefully we can work from that. Yeah, hopefully.
So, can I ask you, Jenny, what's a heaven for you? Come on.
Really? Heaven for me had opened. It's been like my heaven since I was a teenager. Heaven for me would be long grass in a constant sunset. And I've always had elephants in it. Elephants and giraffes. Yeah, I love elephants. And giraffes and gorillas. And I want all my dogs and cats in it. That's my heaven. And of course, with my children. But my children will probably give out when they say, oh, you mentioned the dogs and cats first, Mom, thanks. But I want my heaven to be my people. I know, right? But I want my heaven to be my people. But when I was a teenager, before I had my children, heaven for me was long wheat grass with like an African sunrise with elephants. Elephants was the first one, and only elephants. Then giraffes. And I want my pets with me, and I want my girls with me, and I want my people that I knew and love in that heaven with me. And I know my heaven is probably not my friend's heaven who passed away, but I want them to visit. That's my heaven. I want to be I want to feel content. That's my heaven. My children, my animals, and I want an elephant, a giraffe thrown in, and a gorilla.
Just one gorilla, or do you want 2?
I want all of them who passed away in a bad way. I want them all there, and I want elephants there, and I want giraffes there. That's what I want. That's my heaven.
Well, that's what I've heard. The psychic tell me one day, they says, whatever you want. But Daddy said it too. Anything you want, you can get. So if you want to go into a never-ending pub, for instance, if you're into like drinking beer and stuff like that, you can have unlimited beer and wine and snacks, I suppose. For me, it's like maybe the mountains and stuff like that. I don't know.
That's why you've got to lead a good life.
Jenny wants like a place with elephants and things like that. I want a really pretty place, but what I want in that place, obviously my loved ones, but I want it like it is here. I want people to be able to live among each other, and there's no one that's rich and anyone that's poor. We're all equal. We're all living comfortably. We're not having to struggle, and we actually build a real life instead of having one where we're struggling constantly and having to constantly talk for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I want a place where it's equal, where it's kind, and where there is love and peace, and we ain't worrying about war and all this.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, a life that we were promised to have, but it seems to be not. I'm not going to say a daily struggle, but life is.
There's always a curveball.
There is.
Life is a lesson. Life is a lesson.
A lesson. School.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's school. Can you imagine? you'll go
Whatever
back,
you
you'll
do,
close back
sorry.
out, and then I'm just saying they'll go back out, Jenny, and the headmaster will stand in front of you and say, Jenny, you've done really well, but you've got another 10 million years to serve on Earth. Off you go.
You know what I would say?
I went, Jenny!
No.
I think I'd tie myself to heaven's gates and like protest, like I ain't going nowhere.
No,
Stay in the
please, no.
Lulu's saying no tiredness and health issues would be great too.
Yeah, like anything, no suffering, no pain, no nothing. Like everybody's equal, everybody's okay. Yeah, I mean, like,
And then we can party. Then we can party and say, yeah, woohoo.
Unlimited wine.
That would be lovely too. You know, I'm not gonna
No
lie.
hangovers.
I like red wine, you know. I wouldn't say no to a red wine and an odd cigarette. Yes, I smoke sometimes. Oh my god! But yeah,
Oh my
you know,
God.
a glass of white,
I wouldn't worry about it.
a glass of red wine, white wine, and then a cigarette. It'd be nice and just sitting in the dock of the bay. I would just be singing and just chilling and relaxing. It would be great. Why not?
So,
we do
ladies
love
and
you
gen-
guys. We do love you all, and
Yeah,
we're
we
not
do.
being racist or being horrible towards religion.
No,
Please
no.
don't take what we've said as it is from our own concept of how we feel about what we've seen and gone through. You know what I mean? So we love all of you, no matter what you are.
And if you're a mad mob with burning pitchforks and that, I live in the South Pole. You can find me next to the iceberg.
And then to make it all better on my language, here's a little puppy to make it easier. Here's a little puppy to make it easier. This is my little foster dog. His name is Ollie.
Oh,
He's up. So this is my apology for all my bad language tonight. Did it cover it? Did it work?
That is my link in the chat, guys. If you want to make sure that your bells are on, because YouTube people are telling me they're not getting notifications from that channel. So
I know.
make
There's a
sure
lot
your
of
bells
going
are on.
on at the minute.
Yeah, it's terrible. Bless
He's
him.
cute, isn't he? He's so cute.
Beautiful.
He came to me last week when he was 8 weeks of age, and it came
Not
from.
as cute as my gnome.
I love your gnome. He's up for adoption. He'll get all his vaccination works done. He'll get microchipped. He's up for adoption, and if nobody adopts him, I might just keep him.
Oh, I would knew that was coming.
There's his brother.
His brother, our gnomes.
I have 4 dogs, and
My little mascot.
this could be my
gorgeous.
He could be my 5th dog. He's so
That's right.
bold.
Nibble, Jenny's here.
His teeth.
All the way to Ireland to adopt
He's
him.
chewing away at her ears.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. He's a very good boy. But he's
Phoenix, I'd love him. He's cute, isn't he?
if the right home comes along, he will go. He will go. And if the right home doesn't come along and he is too settled here, I love him too much, he might just stay.
Oh.
See my glasses? No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this before we go. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Please, please, please go and subscribe to Sherry, Drew, and Jenny. Let's get Jenny to 1,000 subscribers for Halloween. Come on, we can do it. We share Jenny's channel.
Yeah, Mystical as well, guys. Let's get them there.
And Mystical as well. And feel free to everybody post your links in the chat when this the news. So just everybody can post your links in the chat now, and it'll all be there. And everybody that's been on the panel tonight, I will add all your links below the video. So if anybody watches this back, you'll see it. You know.
Thank you.
And everybody have a fantastic weekend. Check out Sherry's and Jen's and Drew's channel. Catch you all later. Have a fantastic night. And have fun.
Blessed be. Merry party.
Bye, guys. Blessings.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting adventure with Ghost Squad Scotland. Our team of experienced ghost hunters use the latest technology to explore the paranormal and uncover the truth about the unknown. Don't forget that we're affiliated with Spirit Shack, the UK's premier ghost hunting equipment store, so you can trust our equipment to be top-notch. Plus, we have exclusive Ghost Squad Scotland merch available on our Zazzle store, so you can show your support for the team in style. And if you can't get enough of our ghost hunting adventures, sure to tune into the Bald and Bonkers TV network to catch our show in action. Content creators can even have their own content syndicated on the network, or create their own custom online TV channel by visiting baldandbonkers.net. Thank you for your support. And remember to always keep an open mind as we continue to explore the mysteries of the paranormal with Ghost Squad Scotland.